Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about what is the higher self. I'm going to explain what the higher self is because a lot of you have heard of this in my channelings, but may not have a complete background on that. So I decided to do this single video, which would include explanations from me as well as Archangel Michael, who's going to explain some of the questions I have about the higher self. And yeah, let's get started. So, what is the higher self? The higher self is a 12th dimensional aspect of you that is all knowing. Your higher self is made of unconditional love. Your higher self is source. Your higher self knows why you are born in this lifetime. It knows your past, present, and future. It knows your purpose. It knows why you are here and what choices you are going to make in the future. Your higher soul is also aware of your higher self is also aware of the soul contracts that you have agreed to experience in your physical lifetime, meaning the kind of people who are going to come in your life, how long they are going to stay, and when they are going to leave, when they are going to come. And that's the same with your spirit guides. When your spirit guides are going to assist you, in which point of life, which spirit guide is going to come, and when they are going to leave, and everything. And there are so many other things that your higher self knows, which you physically may not know. So, the question that I often get is, oh, I only knew about the soul and I thought the higher soul is same as a higher self. It's not exactly the same. Your your soul exists in the seventh dimension, whereas your higher self exists in the 12th dimension. If I take example of these two glass, it's like your higher self decides to trickle down a portion of its consciousness to your soul, which in turn trickles down a portion of its consciousness and becomes your physical self. So, in a sense, you are, if I consider this as your physical self and this as your higher self, both exists as separate consciousnesses. Your physical self is not aware of your higher self, whereas your higher self knows your physical self because your higher self created the physical self. So, the point of spiritual ascension is for the physical self to realize that it is the higher self and merge the physical self consciousness with the higher self. So, the higher self does this layer by layer because your body will not be able to handle the energies of your higher self. It is tremendously powerful, it is eternal, it is indestructible, it is an aspect of source. So, how can you connect with your higher self? I did a free 5 day meditation, so you can check out the link below and sign up for the meditations. The fifth meditation, the last meditation, is this higher soul or higher self meditation. So you can become your higher self and experience or know or understand a lot more details about your life as your higher self. So it's completely free. You can sign up in the link below. Now, I had a lot of my own questions for Archangel Michael, like, do I exist in uh, the 12th dimension as a higher self, and why not directly experience yourself as a physical entity, like the 3D entity that you are now, the physical you? Why there is a soul in between, and what's the difference between the higher self and the soul? And why are there different layers of consciousness, like your etheric aura or your astral aura or your mental aura or the soul level aura, the causal body? And I also wanted Archangel Michael to explain that why your higher self chose to be born. What does your higher self do in its 12th dimension? So he's going to answer all those questions. And I'm going to enter into the channeling state now, where I'm going to bring him through. And I hope you enjoy this session. I'll see you at the end. Greetings. We are Michael, and we take great pleasure in explaining what your higher self is and what it does, and why it chose to be born as you, the physical version of you with its physical awareness. As you know, you are a three-dimensional being, meaning you are aware of the length, breadth, height, and can only sense things that is physical in nature, what you can experience as solid. When we say physical, we mean solid, or maybe liquid or gaseous to some extent. But you don't only exist in the physical level, you also exist in other levels, which are non physical in nature, but you are not aware of that because you did not ever feel the need to become aware of that. So let's get into it. Your higher self is you with a tremendous amount of awareness of who it is. Your higher self knows it is an aspect of source. It is source or God or all that is, whatever you wish to call it. Your higher self is in constant communion with source and other beings who are non-physical in nature, such as us. We exist in the 15th dimension, whereas your higher self exists in the 12th dimension. And some of you and your higher selves are communicating with us, your spirit guides, and other beings who exist in other dimensions. But your physical self, meaning the physical, you may not be aware of it except for your dreams. You may remember some of your dreams where you are meeting some people who are technically not people, but your brain's interpretation of those beings who are in the non physical realm. Your brain cannot perceive things that it does not know outside of 3D, so it creates a symbol, an image to represent whatever you experienced in your dream. Hence, your dreams are symbols, not what they are actually all the time. Sometimes it can be, but not all the time. Those are your symbols, and it needs to be interpreted what actually happened in your dream realms. When you sleep, you become aware of your other worldly experiences as well as your higher self. So, why did your higher self choose to experience itself as you, your physical self? If it is all knowing and if it knows its source, why does it need to experience itself again physically? Because the experience in the physical dimension is very different in the higher dimension. Every time when the higher self experience or consciousness is densified into lower dimensions, it forgets something. So, if we take the glass example, your higher self contains tremendous amount of consciousness and awareness, and it chooses to pour itself a little bit, a portion of it, into the and creates the 11th dimension and the 11th level of consciousness of you. which is also very vast, but not as vast as the 12th dimension. It is like a trickled down version of your higher self, the 11th dimensional consciousness of you. And then the 11th dimensional consciousness of you decides to trickle down another portion of itself to create the 10th dimensional consciousness of you, which is also vast, but not as much as the 11th dimensional version of you. So, this trickling down of energies allows you to densify, because density or solidity means you are vibrating at a very low frequency, so low that things appear solid, even when it's not. So, this solidity that you experience is an illusion. It is very dense energy, which you can experience when you understand your Einstein's equation E is equal to mc squared, that matter and energy are interchangeable because technically they are all at the same thing, just vibrating at a different frequency. So when the higher self trickles itself down layer by layer, 11 dimension, 10 dimension, 9 dimension, 8 dimension, 7 dimension, it becomes denser in those dimensions as compared to the previous dimension, and less knowing as the previous dimension. So each dimension lower than the 12th dimension knows a little bit less than the previous, the upper dimension. That is how you densify. So you could say your three-dimensional existence as you, the physical you, doesn't know a lot of things as to who you are. And this is the reason this amnesia, this forgetting of you, is what makes you dense, makes you physical. And spiritual ascension is about going back above, ascending, meaning merging with the higher levels of consciousness which you are and which you have, by becoming more self aware, not just being limited to your physical reality, but realizing that you also exist in the fourth dimension. And the fourth dimension is as a universe in itself, and you have a different existence there. Just like in your physical life, the physical universe is so vast and there is so much to explore in your life and outside and everywhere in the universe. Similarly, the fourth dimension is also huge, and you are living as a fourth dimensional being there, and you're not aware. Physically, your physical self is not aware what is going on in the life of the fourth dimensional version of you. There is an entire different life being lived in the fourth dimension that you have. That is also an aspect of you. And the same goes with the fifth dimensional aspect of you, which is living its own life in the fifth dimension, in the fifth dimensional universe, and so on till the 12th dimension. So when you become aware of these dimensions experientially, when you know it in your bones that, oh, I am the higher self, not just theoretically, but intellectually, but physically knowing and embodying that yes, I am those versions of me. That is when you spiritually ascend, meaning your physical three-dimensional consciousness merges with the 4D and the 50 and the 60 and the 70, and it goes on up to the 12th dimension, your higher self. Then you start living your life on earth as your higher self, because you are aware, you become aware why you are on earth and why you are creating your reality the way you are creating your reality, and what do you wish to experience in this lifetime. Why did you choose to be born? Your higher self knows that. And once you become that, it becomes very easy to understand why did you create such challenges in your life, and allows you to get out of your victimhood, that things are happening to you. Well, nothing happens to you. You are creating your own reality, including the negative ones. The question is why? Let us give you an example. Say your higher self is a specific aspect of source. Each one of you is a specific, unique aspect of source that source wanted to experience experientially as to who it is. That's why it was differentiated, separated, or an illusion of separation was created so that source could see itself, oh, I am this, oh, I am this too. So, in that way, some of you have chosen to experience the aspect of love in this lifetime, and some of you might have chosen to experience kindness, some of you knowledge, some of you forgiveness. So let's just say, let's pick forgiveness. If your higher self wanted to experience what it is to be like to forgive and be this aspect of source experientially, especially when I have forgotten who I am, how will I behave? How will I define myself? Who am I going to be every moment when I have forgotten who I am? With this intent, your physical birth happened, where you have forgotten who you are, so that you can discover, go within, and find out how you're defining yourself, what your belief systems are. So each one of you is born with a different belief system, a different aspect or theme of source that you wish to experience in your life by going through those experiences or creating those experiences. So if you are a aspect of source which wants to experience forgiveness, how does it feel like to be forgiving experientially, not intellectually knowing you're forgiving, but actually doing it physically? How are you going to forgive someone if there is nothing to forgive? Hence, you create experiences which are a reflection of who you are. So when people are unkind to you and do nasty things to you, they allow you to experience yourself as forgiveness. If you choose that, you can also choose not to be forgiving. You can also choose to be unkind. So you have the free will to experience whatever you wish to. Every moment, you have an opportunity to redefine who you are. It is not written in stone. You have free will. And whatever you experience is your higher self's experience. That is your higher self wanting to experience itself and know itself who it is when it has forgotten who it is, which is your physical self. So you get to know this is who I am, even when you don't know you are the higher self. This is why you were born. Now, most of your teachers talk about the soul level consciousness and not the higher self, because that is the closest layer that is governing and aware of your physical experiences. Think of it as layers of management in a company. There are employees, and to manage employees and their activities, you need a manager. And when there are many employees and many managers, you need another layer of management, and so on and so forth. The hierarchy continues. So the seventh level of management is very much aware of what is going down at the micro level, the employee level. But beyond that, the management above may not know the nitty gritties or may not be involved in the nitty gritties of the employees. Similarly, your soul, the seventh dimensional awareness, is directly responsible in creating your physical experience. It has more hands on involvement in it. And that's why it is easier to connect with your soul as compared to your higher self. But it is possible nevertheless. In a sense, all of these layers and consciousness of you are merged. They are not separate per se. It's just that you are not aware of them because you don't have the self awareness. This is why we ask you to become aware of your belief systems and work through your trauma so that you can stop feeling you are the victim and start owning that you are creating your own reality. Because when you expand your awareness to that degree, then you'll start experiencing your consciousness in the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension. You will eventually start merging, and that process is what is known as spiritually spiritual ascension. So, what does your higher self do? Well, your higher self does tons of things which you may not be aware of, but some of them you might be seeing in your dreams. Your higher self is in constant communion with other beings in the non physical realms from different dimensions. It is experiencing your reality in each one of those dimensions, your life in the physical, a life in the fourth dimension, your life in the fifth dimension, your life in the sixth dimension, and so on, all at the same time, and deciding what it wants to do next in each one of those layers and dimensions. It is creating your blueprint level reality so that it can experience whatever it chooses to experience. It is doing many other things, and once you merge with the higher self, you will get to see why are you creating the reality you are creating and what your other aspects of you are creating in their own dimensions. So your soul, your physical self, your higher self are different aspects of you with different level of awareness. Your soul knows everything about you, but it may or may not know about the higher self. But the higher self knows about your physical you, the soul, and every layer in between. So the whole point of spiritual ascension is to create the awareness from bottoms up instead of top down, because the top down awareness is already there from higher soul level to the physical level. The higher soul knows what is going on in the intermediate levels, but the intermediate levels may not know what is going above. There is no visibility because there is no awareness and there is very little connection. The point is to increase that connection and awareness with spiritual and personal development. With this, we hope we have answered some of your questions about your higher self, and we would encourage you to experience what it feels like to be the higher self, as mentioned by this channel in the meditations. And we hope to bring in more such interesting explanations and metaphysical concepts in future. Good day and goodbye. Wow, that was so much information. I hope you enjoyed the session. Usually, after the channeling sessions, I don't feel like talking much because I am still in the theta state. Do drop your questions and comments if you have more questions about the higher self. I'd love to channel again and bring you the answers to those